Last week, Donald Trump called out China for allegedly violating the temporary trade agreement. Today, China is firing back, saying it's actually the U.S. that is in the wrong. Last week on Fox Business, J.P. Morgan Chase CEO Jamie Dimon sent this warning to the president.
What I mean by that, I'm not afraid of them, is that look, China, first of all, they're not afraid of us either. And, going over there, you get the distinct impression that they are doing their thing. They're putting a lot of money into AI, cars, robotics. I'm not afraid of them. I'm afraid that we don't get our own act together internally.
They are not afraid of us. Joining us now, NBC News senior business correspondent Christine Romans, and back with us, White House and Foreign Affairs correspondent for Politico, Eli Stokols. So listen, he's not specifically saying, Donald Trump, beware of China. They're not going to back down, Christine, but he's saying it on Fox Business. There's a reason why he's going on that network. And he has been saying that a lot of this trade war stuff is not a good idea, as other CEOs have been saying, that China is not so easily cowed.
Trade wars are hard. And negotiations, even when we're friendly with the Chinese, are really hard. I mean, my entire career, there's been these promises made and promises not kept. And then we get a new administration, and it's the same Chinese leadership and the same Chinese strategy. So It's really difficult. The beef right now, and there is beef, Katie, the beef right now is the Chinese are furious about canceling all these student visas. They're really mad about that. And they're also furious about the fact that the U.S. has export controls on important AI chips, that not letting them be sold to China. They're mad about that. The White House is mad that the Chinese, they say, are slow-walking minerals exports. So you can see there are multiple prongs at play at the same time. And the White House wants to stick to just a narrow negotiation with the Chinese. The Chinese are trying to bring more into it.
Eli, this is kind of hard to straighten out because on the one hand, I understand the desire to pull back some of our industry or manufacturing from China. I understand the desire to hold them off when we are selling our AI chips around the world. They're our strategic competitor. On the other hand, this is a technology that's already out there. It is industry that has already been established. It's not so easy to pull back from it. It's also not clear that if we did pull back from it, China would be any worse for wear. How is the White House, how are they debating these conflicting incentives?
Well, I don't know if they're debating the incentive so much as they're just throwing out a lot of explanations for what they're trying to do as sort of a policy in search of a rationale afterwards. And some of the explanations have been more believable or maybe more enduring than others. This administration is very concerned about rare earth minerals and making more of those chips and cell phones and things in the United States and not allowing China to continue to have such an advantage in that space. But as far as, reshoring manufacturing entirely and taking all the jobs that are in China, very low paying jobs, and bringing them back to the United States, as Commerce Secretary Lutnick sort of explained at the beginning of the trade war, that is not really something that most people in the White House believe is realistic and not going to be really the stated public explanation for this. The president is out there talking about the stuff with China and saying, well, this can be resolved if she and I get on the phone. This is a president who loves the one-on-one personal diplomacy, the face-to-face conversations, especially with big, powerful leaders like an autocrat in Beijing. The problem here is that, as Christine noted, China is upset with this White House, this president, and is not in a position, as Jamie Dimon noted, they're not in a position of desperation. They don't need to put Xi Jinping on the phone with President Trump. And so at this point, it's kind of hard to see how this gets figured out. I think the Chinese and the U.S. are sort of both looking for, who can be an effective back channel here, who can get to the president. They were able to get together a few weeks back when the U.S. and China ratcheted way down the tariffs that had risen, to around 145% on the U.S. side, ratcheted those down. They were able to come to some conversations and figure out an effective way to communicate and come to that agreement. But at this point, it does not seem like there's a lot of talks going on. There's optimism from the White House. There will be a call soon. But my reporting is that the Chinese are not necessarily super eager to give the president that phone call.
And so much of this is so out in the open. I think that's also a surprising aspect of this, because if another administration had an issue with China, I don't think we'd be hearing about it every single day the way that we're hearing about this one. Is that a negotiating tactic for them, for Donald Trump to be out there changing his mind or proclaiming that China's in violation or China's great or he loves Xi Jinping or doesn't love Xi Jinping? It seems to change daily.
It does. And even to the point of we think there might be a phone call between the two leaders this week. And there might be, Carolyn Levitt, the spokesperson for the U.S., said that there would be a readout after. We don't know how sparse or how robust it would be. I mean, we're talking about whether there'll be a phone call. We know that our president really believes in leader-to-leader foreign policy. So all this other work that's going around, who's making these rules? Who's making these deals? And on the subject of deals, Reuters is reporting, we've got calls out to the White House and USTR, that there'll be a final deadline, like Wednesday, for all these hundreds of countries to come up with their final offer for what they want in a trade deal, what they're willing to offer. It's just a very unwieldy process, Katie.
It's like trying to bid on a house. Your best and final, have it now. All right. Christine Romans, Eli Stokel, thank you so much.